Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 7 o'clock main news. In tonight's headlines, registration for the by-elections of the 14th Legislative Parliament term continues for the 6th day. A car bomb kills 11 and wounds 27 others in the northern Iraqi city of Kirkuk. Ukrainians to vote in a new president after months of unrest following the ousting of the former president. And anti-coup protests continue in the Thai capital Bangkok despite a warning from the country's new military rulers. His Highness the Amir, Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, received this morning at Sif Palace His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah. His Highness the Amir then received the National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Ali Al-Ghanem. His Highness the Amir also received His Highness Sheikh Jabir Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister. Finally, His Highness the Amir received the First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister Sheikh Sabah Al-Khalid Al-Hamad Al-Sabah. His Highness the Amir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to His Hashemite Majesty King Abdullah II bin Al-Hussein of Jordan on the occasion of his country's 68th National Day. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to His Hashemite Majesty King Abdullah II bin Al-Hussein of Jordan on the occasion of his country's 68th National Day. His Highness Sheikh Jabir Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, also sent a similar cable. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to Her Excellency the President of the Republic of Argentina, Cristina Fernandez Kirchner, on the occasion of her country's National Day. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to Her Excellency the President of the Republic of Argentina, Cristina Fernandez Kirchner, on the occasion of her country's National Day. His Highness Sheikh Jabir Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, also sent a similar cable. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Panama, Juan Carlos Varela, on the occasion of winning the presidential elections. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to His Excellency the President of the Republic of Panama, Juan Carlos Varela, on the occasion of winning the presidential elections. His Highness Sheikh Jabir Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, also sent a similar cable. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to the advisory cardiologist Dr. Ibrahim Rashdan Al-Rashdan on the occasion of the latter being granted his second world-class award during the International Paris Convention for Interventional Cardiology Specialists, Therapeutic Cardiac Catheter, and also on obtaining the membership of the largest European organization specializing in the cardiac catheter. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of congratulations to the advisory cardiologist Dr. Ibrahim Rashdan Al-Rashdan on the occasion of the latter being granted his second world-class award during the International Paris Convention for Interventional Cardiology Specialists, Therapeutic Cardiac Catheter, and also on obtaining the membership of the largest European organization specializing in the cardiac catheter. His Highness Sheikh Jabir Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, also sent a similar cable. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Subah received this morning at his Chief Palace Diwan the National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Ali Al Ghanem. His Highness the Crown Prince then received His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al Mubarak Al Hamad Al Subah, the Prime Minister. His Highness the Crown Prince later received the First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister Sheikh Subah Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Subah. His Highness the Crown Prince also received the Deputy Premier, Minister of Interior and Acting Minister of Awqaf and Islamic Affairs, Sheikh Mohammed Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Subah. His Highness the Crown Prince then received the Deputy Premier and Minister of Defence, Sheikh Khalid Al Jarrah Al Subah. His Highness the Crown Prince also received the Minister of Information and Minister of State for Youth Affairs, Sheikh Salman Subah Al Salim Al Mahmoud Al Subah. Finally, His Highness the Crown Prince received the Minister of State for Cabinet Affairs and Acting Minister of Justice, Sheikh Mohammed Abdullah Al Mubarak Al Subah. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Subah sent a cable of congratulations to His Highness Sheikh Nasser Al Mohammed Al Ahmed Al Subah on the occasion of the latter being granted 2 academic accolades from Italy. His Highness Sheikh Nasser Al Mohammed was awarded an honorary PhD from the University of Rome and the seal of Sigilia Magnum from the University of Bologna in recognition for his remarkable efforts in supporting dialogue among civilizations and boosting cultural and political communication among several people. His Highness the Crown Prince wished His Highness Sheikh Nasser Al Mohammed success in best representing and serving his country under the wise leadership of His Highness the Amir, Sheikh Subah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Subah. The National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Ali Al Ghanem met today at his office with the chairman of the French-Arab Gulf Friendship Association in the French Parliament, Senator Philippe Marini, and his accompanying delegation currently visiting the country. During the meeting, they discussed bilateral parliamentarian relations and means of boosting mutual cooperation in the parliamentarian, political, economic, cultural and social domains. The meeting was attended by the Parliament Secretary Yaqub Al-Sani, head of the accompanying mission of honour MP Rakan Yusuf Al-Nusuf and MP Saif Mutlaq Al-Asmi. The First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister Sheikh Subah Al Khalid Al Hamad Al Subah met today with the Ambassador of Niger to Kuwait, Abdul Karim Sini, on the end of his tenure. The meeting was attended by the Foreign Under-Secretary Khalid Sulaiman Al Jarallah, the Director of the Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister's Office, Ambassador Sheikh Dr. Ahmed Nasser Al Mohammed Al Subah, and a host of Foreign Ministry officials. The Election Affairs Department at the Ministry of Interior concluded the 6th day of the registration process with more than 13 registered candidates in preparation for the elections for the 14th legislative term of the Parliament, where voting will take place on the 26th of June. The official number of candidates has so far reached 65 nominees, among them 4 women. The last day for registration will fall on the 29th of May. Here is more on the issue in this report by Salim El-Kindari.
Registration for the by-elections of the 14th Legislative Parliament term continued today with 13 more nominees, among them 1 female, bringing the total officially registered candidates to 65 runners.
Yes, we are on the 6th day for the supplementary election for the National Assembly. We still have half an hour to wrap up the 6th day. We admitted at the department up to this moment, as we speak right now, 11 candidates, all male. There is no female. So the total for the 6 days up to this moment is 63 candidates, male and female.
Last day for registration will fall on the 29th of May, where voting will take place on the 26th of June to select 3 candidates who will replace the ones withdrew last month in order to justify the constitutional number of the National Assembly to 50 members. From the Election Affairs Department at the Ministry of Interior in Shuwaikh area, this is Salman Kandiri reporting for the English News.
A car bomb went off outside a store in the northern Iraqi city of Kirkuk last night, killing at least 11 people. A further 27 people were also wounded in the attack that took place in the city's Al-Wasiti neighborhood, while the blast damaged a number of shops and burnt out several cars. Levels of violence rose to their highest in years in 2013, when nearly 8,000 civilians were killed. Kirkuk, which is about 250 kilometers north of Baghdad, is a multi-ethnic city of Arabs, Kurds and Turkmen, and it's at the heart of a dispute between Iraq's central government and the autonomous Kurdistan region. In the midst of the Palestinian reconciliation and people's yearning for a national unity government, Gazans organized the first event of its kind in the Gaza Strip today. A group of activists and representatives of all Palestinian parties gather in Beit al-Sahafa press house today to launch a message to the Pope, who is heading to the Holy Land in his historic visit. Majd al-Wahidi has this report from Gaza.
Following the announcement that Pope Francis is heading to the West Bank, tens of Palestinian activists and journalists in Gaza decided to talk with him about their suffering. His Holiness is not in Gaza now, yet these activists believe their words are important. By using hashtags on social media, they launched messages which shed light on Israel's violations of human rights and its severe blockade on the Gaza Strip.
Well, it's very important for this Pope in Palestine to send lots of messages related to the issue: prisoners, detainees, refugees, Jerusalem, checkpoints, how much we need to travel, the right of movement, right of travel, right of even practice our own religion, holy places, to go to there and to move freely. It's very important to send all of those messages through this Pope in Palestine, the hashtag we did today.
Pope Francis has called for an end to the increasingly unacceptable Palestinian-Israeli conflict during a visit today to the West Bank city of Bethlehem. His comments came as he met Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas as part of a 3-day tour of the Middle East. Pope Francis is the first pontiff to travel directly to the West Bank rather than enter via Israel. Also, he's now welcomed by President Mahmoud Abbas and other Palestinians in the West Bank. Palestinians in Gaza see this move as a morale boost and a support for their statehood recognition in the face of a paralyzed peace process. Several hundred Palestinian Christians from the Gaza Strip have been allowed to leave the besieged Palestinian territory to travel to the West Bank for Pope Francis' historical visit. Some of them lost their sons in Israeli wars and is still suffering from the ravages of the siege. However, Israel has only allowed Christians over 35 years age to go.
I hope I can get a permission to the West Bank, but the Israeli occupation authorities refuse to let us to go to our Holy Land. They only allow those who are above 35 years of age to go, and sometimes they even prevent them. All of this deprives us from praying in Jerusalem and Bethlehem.
The Pope's journey to the Holy Land comes amid a new U.S. push for peace between Israel and Palestine. Also, it coincides with Palestinians' internal efforts to end a 7-year split. Musa Abu Marzouk, a Hamas leader, said today that Azzam al-Ahmad, a member of the Central Committee of the Fatah movement, will arrive in the Gaza Strip on Sunday evening in order to provide a final image of the unity government. Majd al-Wahidi, Kuwait TV, Gaza.
Ukrainians are going to the polls today to vote for a new president after months of unrest that killed 20 people in recent days following the ousting of former President Viktor Yanukovych in February. There are 18 candidates on the ballot, which is widely seen as a crucial moment to unite the country, and confectionery tycoon Petro Poroshenko, known as the Chocolate King, is the favorite to win. But pro-Russian separatists have disrupted voting in the east, stopping many polling stations from opening and smashing up ballot boxes. Voting in the eastern regions of Donetsk and Luhansk have been seriously disrupted. Small anti-coup protests have continued in the Thai capital Bangkok despite a warning from the country's new military rulers. Hundreds of demonstrators chanted "Get out" and marched through the streets today, even though gatherings of more than 5 people were banned after the army seized power on Thursday. Earlier, 18 newspaper editors were summoned by the military in its latest move to stifle criticism and forestall opposition to its rule. An army spokesman in Bangkok said normal democratic principles could not be applied at the current time. The army chief is due to receive royal endorsement tomorrow, and the ruling junta is then expected to set up a national legislative assembly which will draw up a temporary constitution with a new prime minister. Voting has begun in Colombia's presidential elections, with none of the 5 candidates projected to secure the absolute majority of votes required to take power for the next 4 years. The campaigns carried out by the aspiring candidates have failed to sway the country's citizens, according to numerous polls, making a second round likely on June 15th. Although the spotlight has been on the scandals involving the election's 2 main contenders, incumbent President Juan Manuel Santos and Democratic Center Centro Democrático Oscar Iván Zuluaga, electoral watchdogs are confident that the election will be a peaceful one. President Santos has pinned his re-election hopes on the ongoing peace process with the country's largest guerrilla group, the FARC, which has been taking place in Cuba since 2012 and seeks to end 50 years of civil conflict. Voters in most EU countries are going to the polls on the 4th and final day of European elections. Germany, France, Poland and Spain are among the 21 countries voting for members of the European Parliament. Elections have already taken place in 7 EU member states, including the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Latvia and Malta. Greece, which had to be bailed out by the EU and other lenders over its debts, was one of the first countries to open polling stations today. Members of the European Parliament now negotiate legislation with national government ministers in what is called co-decision before Parliament votes on the laws. They have a say on budget areas including agriculture and regional aid. The Kuwait Stock Exchange ended today's trading session with mixed boards. The KSX 15 came to 1,186.14 points, gaining 2.22 points. The weighted index reached 488.28 points, gaining 0.36 points, and the price index recorded 7,310.28 points, losing 36.55 points. The number of transactions came to 2,592, worth around 8.75 million Kuwaiti dinars, with 90.1 million shares changing hands. The Kuwait Textile Arts Association, or the KTAA, launched its 15th annual exhibition showcasing many arts and crafts by its 90-plus members, representing many nationalities, that continued for 4 days and featured lectures and workshops. The association looks for and hosts workshops and lectures from specialists in weaving and quilting as part of training and the capacity building for members throughout the year, which starts in September and ends in June. Sarah Glubb was at Ahmed Al-Udwani Hall with the details.
Under the patronage of the National Council for Cultural Arts and Letters, the NCCAL, Kuwait Textile Arts Association, or KTAA, opened its 15th annual Textile Arts exhibition.
It's gone higher and higher every year. The detail work, the sophistication of the patterning. You see some that could absolutely be photographs, and you get up close and those are tiny pieces of patchwork that have been stitched together. So it's gotten more sophisticated and greater detail with especially our pros. We have some women in here who could be professional, but this is, I must remind everyone, it is a hobby. It is amateur women who love what they do and do what they love. And this year we had a beginner's quilt category. So these women had for the first time taken on the challenge of trying to piece together something, and you could just see how tickled they were to be acknowledged for their work.
During the opening, members who had won in the different categories were awarded before the exhibition was inaugurated, which showcased creativity in many types of weaving and quilting platforms that not only possess the unique design characteristics native to this region, but also Europe, the US, Far East and Southeast Asia as well.
Some of our members went to the international show in Dubai and have displayed their workings. Because we're an expat, a multicultural expat group, one of our challenges this year was to make an apron from our home country, and on National Quilting Day we distribute them, we exchange them, so that was lots of fun. In the quilting, we had 13 different groups this year. In the fiber arts, we had knitting, we had some crocheting. Lynette did a fabulous piece, a table runner.
I was invited here to judge the quilt competition and also to teach for the next few days with the group. So tomorrow the workshop is called Ghost Images of the Orient. So I've designed a particular project for the ladies tomorrow that is a dhow, one of the vessels that you see sailing up and down the Gulf here. But we're going to construct it using a variety of nets and shears to give a very ghostly image.
The annual exhibition is held to commemorate the end of the multicultural non-profit organization's fruitful season that operates under the auspices of Sadu House, a local art association that supports traditional arts and its commodities.
Kuwait Textile Arts Association has inaugurated its 15th annual exhibition of textile arts, celebrating members' endless and unique creativity in promoting the knowledge and skills of textile arts in Kuwait and the Gulf region. From the Ahmed Al Adwani Hall in Abdullah Salim area, this is Sarah Glubb reporting for English News.
For a chance to see our reports again, please visit our YouTube channel at MOI Kuwait News. And to recap tonight's news, here are the headlines once again. Registration for the by-elections of the 14th Legislative Parliament term continues for the 6th day. A car bomb kills 11 and wounds 27 others in the northern Iraqi city of Kirkuk. Ukrainians to vote in a new president after months of unrest following the ousting of the former president. And anti-coup protests continue in the Thai capital Bangkok despite a warning from the country's new military rulers. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.